This video is about SHE missed her train and a rich man waited with her, starting a flirting chat. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The rain had started softly, a gentle patter against the glass roof of the train station, but it soon escalated into a torrential downpour. The sound of rushing water drowned out the muffled announcements, echoing through the dormant space like a haunting melody. As the clock struck 9, Emma Sinclair stood on the platform, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and frustration. She pulled her red raincoat tighter around her, the vibrant color a stark contrast to the dreary scene surrounding her. Come on," she muttered under her breath, glancing at her watch for the third time in minutes. The train to Brighton was supposed to arrive any minute now, and she was already anxious about the meeting with her estranged mother. They hadn't spoken in years, and with every tick of the clock, doubts began to cloud her mind. Just as she lifted her gaze to the horizon of the tracks, the electronic board flickered and blinked ominously. The train had been delayed again. Emma sighed, running a hand through her tousled brown hair, the strands dampened and frizzy from the humidity. It felt like a cruel joke, a test of patience she wasn't prepared for. She had envisioned a smooth journey, but life had a way of throwing curveballs, and today was no exception. Looks like you're in quite the predicament. The deep voice, smooth as silk, pulled Emma from her spiraling thoughts. She turned to find a man leaning casually against a nearby pillar, his tall frame clad in a tailored navy coat that hinted at wealth. His dark hair was slightly tousled, giving him a roguish charm, while his piercing blue eyes sparkled with mischief. "Just a little delay," she replied, trying to maintain her composure, though she felt a flutter of curiosity about this stranger. "I'm sure it will be here any moment." He raised an eyebrow, a slight smirk playing on his lips. "Ah, the optimistic type. I admire that. I, however, have learned that the universe enjoys toying with our plans." He glanced at the train schedule, then back at her, his gaze unwavering. "What's waiting for you in Brighton?" Emma hesitated, feeling an unexpected stir of vulnerability. "I'm going to see my mother," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt the weight of her words, the rawness of a truth she had tried to bury. "Ah, the mother-daughter reunion," he mused, tilting his head as if considering her situation. "Sounds like an emotional roller coaster." "It was supposed to be a simple trip," Emma replied, shrugging her shoulders. "Just a couple of hours, a coffee, maybe a few awkward silences. But now," she trailed off, her anxiety bubbling to the surface. "Now you might miss your chance," he finished for her, his expression turning serious for a brief moment. "Life is unpredictable, isn't it?" She nodded, grateful for the stranger's understanding. "You could say that again." He extended his hand, his smile returning, and she couldn't help but notice the way his eyes crinkled at the corners. "I'm Alexander, by the way, and you are?" "Emma," she replied, shaking his hand. His grip was firm but gentle, sending a jolt of warmth through her. There was an undeniable chemistry crackling in the air between them, a connection that felt both sudden and electric. "Pleasure to meet you, Emma." He looked her over, taking in the details, a hint of freckles across her nose, the way her eyes sparkled even in the gloom of the station. "So, what's the plan if the train doesn't show?" She shrugged, masking the twinge of uncertainty that gnawed at her. "I guess I'll just have to wait until it does," she said, forcing a light tone despite the heaviness in her chest. "Waiting is an art form, you know," he replied, leaning slightly closer, the scent of his cologne, a mix of cedarwood and something fresh, enticing. "What do you do while you wait?" "People watch, daydream." "More like overthink," Emma admitted, a small laugh escaping her lips. "I can easily turn a simple train delay into an existential crisis." Life's too short for crises, Alexander said, his expression turning serious once more, his gaze steady and unyielding. You should let go of what you can't control. Make the moment count. His words resonated deeply with her, and she found herself drawn into the depths of his blue eyes. How do you know so much about letting go? She asked, intrigued. He hesitated for a moment, the smile fading from his lips as a shadow passed over his face. Let's just say life has taught me some hard lessons, he replied, a wistful tone creeping into his voice. Emma wanted to press him for more, to delve into the depths of his experiences, but she recognized a hint of vulnerability that mirrored her own. I can relate, she finally said, her voice softer. It's hard to let go of the past, especially when it comes to family. Alexander nodded, his gaze searching hers as if he was weighing her words carefully. Is that why you're meeting your mother? To mend something broken? Maybe, Emma admitted, her heart tightening at the thought. Or maybe I'm just trying to make sense of years of silence. She felt a flicker of hope at the idea that perhaps this encounter, however brief, could lead to more than just a missed train. And here I thought I was the only one with a complicated family dynamic, he said, a teasing glint returning to his eyes. But tell me, Emma, what would you do if you didn't have to worry about the train or the meeting? If you could erase all the uncertainties for just a moment? She considered his question, allowing her mind to wander free. I think I would just enjoy the moment, she replied slowly. Maybe I'd find a nice cafe, grab a warm drink, watch the world go by. Or, I don't know, wander around and find something beautiful. Sounds lovely, he said, his voice low and inviting. Why not start right now? We could do a little exploring of our own while we wait. Emma's pulse quickened at his suggestion, a part of her thrilled by the spontaneity of the idea. Like what? She challenged, a playful smile creeping onto her lips. His smirk widened, that magnetic charm returning full force. How about we create our own little adventure? You and I could see where the day takes us. After all, isn't that what life is about? Spontaneity. She felt her heart race, excitement mingling with trepidation. It was a bold offer, one that could lead her down an unexpected path. She glanced at the rain-soaked platform, then back at him, his expression earnest, inviting. In his company, she felt lighter, almost free from the weight of her impending meeting. All right, let's do it, she said, her voice steady as resolve washed over her. What do we start with? The first step of an adventure, Alexander said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Let's find a cafe and wait out the storm. I promise you, it will be anything but boring. As they stepped out into the rain, laughter spilling from their lips like music, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this chance encounter could change everything. The clock was ticking, the world was waiting, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a flicker of something she hadn't anticipated. Hope. The rain danced around them, a symphony of droplets that drummed against the pavement, and Emma couldn't help but feel a rush of exhilaration as she hurried alongside Alexander. The scent of wet earth and fresh rain lingered in the air, enhancing her senses and heightening her awareness of the moment. She glanced at him, his jaw set with determination, and her heart raced at the thought of stepping into the unknown, leaving behind the weight of her past. Do you always make spontaneous decisions based on train delays? She asked, laughter threading through her words as they ducked under the awning of a small cafe, bright and welcoming, its windows fogged from the warmth inside. Only when the company is intriguing, he replied, his eyes twinkling. And you, Emma, are certainly intriguing. The compliment sent a rush of warmth up her cheeks, and she felt a flutter of uncertainty in her stomach. I'm not sure if intriguing is the right word, she said, attempting to mask her embarrassment with a light tone. More like anxious woman on the verge of a meltdown. Ah, but that just adds to the intrigue, he countered, leaning against the wall, arms crossed casually over his chest. You have layers. I appreciate a good puzzle. She raised an eyebrow, feigning skepticism. A puzzle, huh? And what makes you think you can solve me? He chuckled softly, a deep, rich sound that resonated in the space between them. It's the challenge that excites me. Besides, I have a knack for unraveling knots. It's practically my job. Your job? She asked, an amused smile playing on her lips. What do you do exactly? Let's just say I'm a bit of a fixer, he replied, his expression unreadable. It was a vague answer, but there was something about the way he said it that sparked her curiosity. I help people untangle their complications, both personal and professional. Sometimes they need a nudge in the right direction. That sounds interesting, she said. And how does one become a professional fixer? He shrugged, his gaze drifting to the rainy street outside. Let's just say it's a role I fell into rather than one I sought out. Life has a way of guiding us, doesn't it? Emma pondered his words, nodding slowly as she felt the weight of her own uncharted path. I suppose it does, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But what about you? What kind of complications do you find yourself dealing with? He turned back to her, a shadow of something flickering in his eyes, regret perhaps. Everyone has their issues, Emma. It's the human condition. Some people want love, others want power. Some are just trying to find their way. She felt a connection as they stood there, two souls navigating the storm, and she leaned slightly closer, curiosity igniting her desire to peel back his layers as he had so effortlessly done with hers. And what is it that you want, Alexander? He paused, considering her question, his gaze intent as if searching for the right words. Right now, I want to enjoy this moment, he said finally, a smile breaking through the seriousness. To find beauty amidst the chaos. To connect with someone who understands. Someone who understands, she echoed, her pulse quickening. That's a tall order. Are you sure I'm that person? Why not? He replied, his tone light, but the intensity in his gaze lingered. You're here, aren't you? And you seem to have a depth that's hard to ignore. Emma felt a rush of warmth, an unexpected rush of chemistry that coursed through her veins like wildfire. It was as if he could see into her soul, peeling back the layers of fear and insecurity she had spent her life building. You're quite the charmer, she said, trying to deflect the intensity of the moment with humor. Only when the occasion calls for it, he replied, his expression serious once more. But don't think for a second that I'm not genuinely interested in hearing your story. You don't just show up in a rainstorm to avoid a train without some compelling history. His probing gaze made her heart race, and she felt an urge to spill her secrets, to tell him everything, the hurt, the pain, and the hope that flickered like a candle in the darkness. Is it really that obvious? She murmured, her eyes lowering to the ground, feeling suddenly exposed. Only to someone who knows how to read the signs, he said softly, and she felt his presence envelop her like a warm blanket. But let's not dive too deep just yet. I'm just a stranger with a penchant for adventure. How about we order some coffee and talk about something lighter, like favorite books or travel destinations? She chuckled, grateful for the change in subject. Well, that's a much safer topic. I could talk about books for hours. I'm a bit of a bibliophile, actually. Ah, a woman of taste, he said, stepping forward into the cafe, and she followed, captivated by the warmth inside. The cafe was cozy, filled with the fresh scent of coffee and pastries. The walls were adorned with vintage book covers, creating a whimsical atmosphere that felt like stepping into a storybook. Emma glanced around, her heart fluttering with excitement as she took in the ambience. This is charming, she said, her voice warm with appreciation. I love places like this. It's one of my favorites, Alexander admitted as they approached the counter. The owner has a way of making you feel at home, even when the world outside is a tempest. As they placed their orders, steaming cups of cappuccino for both and a scone for her, he leaned against the counter, summoning an effortless charm. "So, tell me about your favorite book. What captures your heart?" Emma smiled, her nerves settling as she recalled her beloved novels. "There's a book called The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It's magical, whimsical, a story within a story that pulls you into a world of dreams and shadows. It reminds me of all the possibilities life holds, especially when you think you're stuck." "Sounds enchanting," he said, nodding appreciatively. "I've read it too. The way she crafts the atmosphere, it's like a dance, isn't it? Each detail intricately woven together." "Yes, exactly," Emma exclaimed, her excitement growing. "It's like you're stepping into the circus itself, feeling the magic in the air." He smiled, a genuine warmth lighting up his features. "You have a beautiful way of expressing yourself. I can see why you're drawn to storytelling." "And you?" she asked, curious to learn more about him. "What's your favorite?" He hesitated, a flicker of something deeper crossing his features. "I think I'd have to go with The Great Gatsby. It's about longing, dreams, and the illusions we create for ourselves. I find it fascinating how love can drive us to do both great things and terrible things." His expression turned somber, and Emma felt a pang of understanding wash over her. "That's a powerful choice," she said softly. "It speaks to the complexities of love." "Exactly," he said, his gaze narrowing slightly, the intensity returning. "It's not always a fairy tale. Sometimes love is messy, complicated. It can leave scars, but it can also heal, much like our lives." Emma felt a shiver run down her spine, the weight of his words resonating with her own experiences. "You're right," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Love can be both a blessing and a curse. Yet it's still worth pursuing," he offered, his gaze unwavering. "Even if it leads to heartbreak, the moments we share with others, those are what make life truly worth living." "Are you saying I should pursue love despite the complications?" she teased, lightening the mood, but her heart raced at the thought. "If it's worth it, yes," he said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "But remember, not every journey is about finding love. Sometimes it's about discovering more about yourself along the way." As they took their coffees to an intimate table by the window, the rain continued to trickle down the glass, blurring the outside world into a soft watercolor. Emma felt a connection to Alexander that went beyond mere attraction, a shared understanding of the complexities of life, of love, and the longing to find something more amidst the chaos. "So what's next for you?" he asked, sipping his coffee, his gaze inquiring. "After this adventure with your mother, I mean." Emma paused, contemplating her answer. "Honestly, I'm not sure. I think I need to find my own path again. I've been so focused on what others expect of me that I lost sight of what I truly want." "Then perhaps this journey to Brighton is your first step," he suggested, his voice encouraging. "A chance to confront the past and shape your future." The thought struck a chord within her, a sense of clarity emerging from the fog of uncertainty. "Maybe you're right," she said, her voice quiet yet resolute. "It's time to take control." He smiled, pride evident in his expression. "And who knows, you might find more then." Emma took a deep breath, the warm aroma of coffee surrounding her, infusing her senses with a comforting sense of possibility. She felt a shift within herself, a stirring hope that maybe this unexpected detour in her day, this spontaneous adventure with Alexander, was more than just a way to pass the time. It felt like a catalyst, an invitation to reclaim her narrative. She looked into Alexander's eyes, those piercing blue orbs that seemed to see straight through her bravado. "You might be onto something," she said, her voice steady. "I've spent so long worrying about what my mother might say, what she might think, that I forgot to consider what I really want from this meeting. Exactly, he encouraged, leaning slightly forward as if sharing a secret. You're not just going to Brighton to meet your mother. You're going to reconnect with yourself, to find your own voice. Maybe even to redefine your relationship with her. A spark ignited in her chest, the idea of reclaiming her narrative blossoming into something tangible. That's what I need, she said, a smile breaking across her face. A redefinition. I've been tiptoeing around the past for too long, afraid of the shadow it casts. I've learned that shadows only have power when we allow them to, Alexander replied, his voice low and comforting. Face them head on and they shrink. You'll be surprised at how small they can become. The sincerity in his words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. And for the first time that morning, she felt that maybe she could face the complications of her family's history without crumbling. The thought of stepping into that room with her mother, not as a frightened child but as a woman ready to reclaim her voice, filled her with courage. You really believe that, don't you? She asked, her gaze unwavering. I do, he said, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. It's not easy, but that's where the real growth happens. Life is about embracing the messiness, even if it terrifies us. As they sat in their cozy corner, the cafe bustling with the sounds of laughter and the clinking of cups, Emma felt something shift in the air between them. The warmth of connection blossomed, making her heart race. So, tell me more about your life, Alexander. What led you to become a fixer? He chuckled softly, running a hand through his tousled hair, a gesture that revealed a hint of vulnerability. It's a long story, really. I grew up in a world that placed a lot of weight on success. My father was a businessman and my mother, well, let's just say she was more interested in appearances than emotions. I spent my childhood trying to fit into a mold that was never really mine. Emma leaned closer, captivated. And you broke free of that mold. Eventually, he replied, his voice growing softer as he let out a breath. But not without a few bumps along the way. I realized that true fulfillment doesn't come from climbing the corporate ladder or impressing others. It comes from understanding people, connecting with them, and helping them find their own way. That's why I do what I do now. I want to guide others through their struggles, help them find clarity amidst the chaos. What a beautiful perspective, she said, her admiration for him deepening. It sounds like you've turned your own struggles into something meaningful for others. Thank you, he said, a touch of humility coloring his voice. But it's a journey just like yours. I still have my own shadows to face, my own complications. We all do. Their conversation flowed seamlessly, each word weaving a tapestry of understanding that left Emma feeling seen and heard in a way she hadn't felt in years. Time seemed to slip away as they shared stories, laughter punctuating the air between them, drawing them closer. What about you, Emma? He asked, a curious glimmer in his eyes. How did you find your way into your career? Oh, it's a bit of a winding road, she admitted, taking a sip of her cappuccino to gather her thoughts. I studied journalism, thinking I would uncover the truth behind stories. I always had a passion for writing, but I ended up in a corporate job, pushing papers instead of pursuing my dreams. I think I got lost in the expectations of others, what my parents wanted for me, what society deemed successful. He nodded, empathy evident in his expression. It's so easy to lose ourselves in the expectations of others, but what about now? What do you want to do? Emma hesitated, her gaze drifting to the rain-slicked window. I think I want to write again. I've always felt this pull towards storytelling, but I let fear hold me back. I want to explore the world, capture the stories that resonate with me, and help others find their voices too. Then that's what you should do, he encouraged, his voice firm yet gentle. You have a gift, Emma. Don't let fear keep you from sharing it. His words ignited a fire within her, a spark of possibility that she hadn't felt in years. "You really think so?" she asked, her heart racing at the encouragement. "I know so," he replied, his eyes warm and reassuring. There was something so genuine in his demeanor that made her heart swell with hope. "You have the potential to inspire others. Just think of all the stories waiting to be told." As their conversation continued, Emma felt the connection between them deepen. It was more than just a fleeting moment. It was as if they were two wandering souls finding solace in each other's presence. She couldn't help but wonder how this man, this rich stranger who had waited with her in the rain, had become such an integral part of her day. "Do you often find yourself in cafes during rainstorms?" she teased, playfully breaking the tension that had settled between them. "Only when I stumble upon captivating company," he shot back, a roguish grin spreading across his face. The chemistry between them crackled, emanating a warmth that was almost palpable. Emma felt her cheeks flush, her heart racing at the flirtation. "Well, I must say I'm flattered, but you should know I can be quite the handful." "I have no doubt about that," he replied, leaning closer, his gaze locking onto hers with an intensity that sent a thrill coursing through her. "But then again, a little challenge is precisely what I'm looking for." His voice was low and sultry, and she felt a shiver run down her spine. In that moment, the world around them faded, the cafe melting away into a distant hum. All that remained was the allure of the man sitting across from her, and the undeniable chemistry crackling in the air. Emma's heart raced, her pulse quickening at the prospect of crossing the threshold from conversation to something more. "What if I told you I'm not as easy to decipher as you think?" "Then I'd say it only makes the pursuit all the more interesting," he replied, his smile playful yet sincere, eyes glinting with challenge. "I enjoy a challenge. And I enjoy keeping people on their toes," she shot back, her heart pounding. "But you should know I'm not easily swept off my feet." "Challenge accepted," he said, his voice a sultry whisper that sent heat flooding through her. "But just know, sometimes the best adventures come when we least expect them." The tension between them thickened, a delicious uncertainty hanging in the air, and Emma felt a mix of excitement and vulnerability rising within her. "What kind of adventures are you suggesting?" she asked, her voice teasing but laced with an undercurrent of sincerity. He leaned back, a confident smirk playing on his lips. "The kind that lead to self-discovery, laughter, maybe even a little romance." Her heart skipped a beat, the prospect of a deeper connection sending her mind spiraling with possibilities. Emma felt a rush of adrenaline coursing through her veins, an exhilarating blend of fear and excitement. "Is that so?" she challenged, her voice teasingly soft. "Absolutely," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "And to start, I think we should make the most of this unexpected rainstorm. It's not every day two strangers meet and decide to seize the day." As if on cue, the rain began to lighten, transforming from a torrential downpour to a gentle drizzle. Emma glanced out the window, then back at Alexander, her heart racing with anticipation. "So what's next on our spontaneous adventure?" "Let's take a walk," he suggested, rising from his seat, his presence commanding and charismatic. "There's a beautiful park nearby, and I know just the spot where we can escape the crowds." Emma felt a rush of exhilaration as she joined him, their energy crackling like electricity. She stepped outside into the cool air, feeling the light mist against her skin, a refreshing sensation that mirrored the thrill bubbling within her. As they strolled side by side, Emma caught glimpses of Alexander's effortless charm, his laughter mingling with the sound of raindrops on leaves, the way he gestured animatedly as he shared stories of his childhood misadventures. With every shared laugh, every teasing glance, she felt a magnetic pull toward him, a connection that deepened with each passing moment. Do you think our paths would have crossed if I had? Emma found herself navigating the cobblestone path alongside Alexander, each step resonating with the rhythm of their laughter and shared stories. The rain had transformed the world around them into a glistening wonderland. Puddles formed intricate patterns at their feet, reflecting the muted greens and browns of the trees that towered overhead. The air felt alive with possibility, and every inhalation seemed tinged with the scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers. So do you think our paths would have crossed if I hadn't missed the train? Emma asked, glancing sideways at him. His profile, illuminated by the soft light filtering through the leaves, was striking. Strong jawline, slight tilt of his head that suggested innate confidence. Fate has a funny way of orchestrating things, he replied, a playful smirk dancing on his lips. Maybe the universe wanted us to meet. After all, you seem like you could use a partner in crime for a little adventure. Partner in crime? Is that what you call this little escapade? Emma teased, her heart fluttering at the idea. With each shared moment, she felt the walls she had built around herself begin to crumble, brick by brick. Absolutely, he said, nodding as if the notion was entirely serious. Every great story begins with a bit of mischief, doesn't it? A spontaneous decision, a chance encounter. Just look at us. Look at us indeed, she mused, feeling emboldened by his words. Two strangers taking a stroll in the rain, discussing the complexities of life. It sounds cliché, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Cliché or not, it's a delightful cliché, he countered, his playful tone evoking warmth within her. And I must say, I'm glad the universe conspired to bring us together. They paused by a bridge overlooking a small pond, where raindrops created ripples that danced across the surface. Emma leaned against the railing, captivated by the serene beauty surrounding them. It's peaceful here, she said softly, the moment feeling sacred, almost intimate. Just like life, right? He replied, standing beside her, their shoulders brushing. Moments of chaos interspersed with tranquility. The key is to find the beauty in both. She turned to him, intrigued by the depth of his thoughts. You seem to have a profound understanding of life. How did you get to this point? He hesitated, the lightheartedness in his demeanor briefly replaced by a shadow of something deeper. Let's just say I've had my fair share of ups and downs, he said, his voice measured. It took losing some things. I thought I couldn't live without to realize what truly matters. Emma felt a pang of empathy. I understand that, she admitted, her heart aching at the thought of her own struggles. Sometimes it feels like we have to lose pieces of ourselves to find clarity. Exactly, he replied, his gaze steady and sincere. But the key is what we do with that clarity. Do we wallow in it, or do we let it guide us toward a better path? She nodded, considering his words. And what path are you on? She asked, her curiosity piquing. What do you want from this adventure? His eyes sparkled and a playful smile returned to his lips. Right now, I want to know more about you. You're fascinating, Emma. I can't help but want to unravel the mystery. She felt a blush creep up her cheeks, the heat of his gaze making her heart race. You're quite the charmer, Alexander, she said, trying to maintain her composure. But I'm not that intriguing. On the contrary, he insisted, leaning slightly closer, his voice dropping to a softer tone. You're layered, complex. The way you speak about your past shows depth. I admire that. Emma felt as if he had peeled back another layer of her facade, exposing the vulnerability she often kept hidden. I've been trying to figure myself out for so long, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. It's terrifying, but I think I'm finally ready to embrace it. Good, he said, his expression earnest. Embracing the unknown is where the magic happens. It's the stories we create in those moments that shape us. They lingered in silence for a heartbeat, a shared understanding passing between them. Emma could feel the threads of their connection weaving tighter, each shared experience stitching together a tapestry of trust and vulnerability. "So you said you're a fixer," she ventured, wanting to steer the conversation back to lighter ground. "What does that mean exactly?" He chuckled, a musical sound that made her smile. "It's a bit of an ambiguous title. I help people navigate their challenges, whether it's in their personal lives or careers. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving them the right perspective." "Sounds rewarding," she said, impressed. "But do you ever find it difficult to be the one always giving advice?" "Not really," he replied, a thoughtful glint in his eyes. "I enjoy it, but it can be a burden sometimes, especially when I feel like I can't fix my own problems." "Ah, I see," Emma said, sensing the weight of his words. "It's easy to help others while neglecting your own needs." "Exactly," he said, a hint of vulnerability creeping into his tone. "But I'm learning to balance it. Conversations like this help remind me that I'm still figuring things out too." Their eyes locked, and a charge of understanding passed between them, deeper than mere attraction. Emma could feel the shared weight of their experiences, forming a bond that felt both fragile and profound. "Do you ever think about what you want for yourself?" she asked, her voice steady. "Honestly," he said, glancing away for a moment as if gathering his thoughts, "I want to find something that fulfills me, a passion that resonates. I've been chasing success for so long that I forgot to ask myself what truly matters." "Chasing success," she echoed, her heart racing. "I can relate to that. It's like we get caught up in what society expects of us and forget to honor our own desires." "Exactly," he said, the intensity of his gaze returning. "I want to live a life that's authentic, where I can connect with people on a deeper level, like this." Emma felt her cheeks flush, her heart skipping a beat. "Like this," she echoed softly, her pulse quickening at the sincerity in his voice. "Precisely," he said, his smile softening. "And what about you, Emma? What do you truly want?" Taking a deep breath, she felt the weight of his question settle in her chest. "I want to write again," she confessed, her voice steady. "I want to tell stories that resonate with people, stories that help them feel seen and understood." "Then that's what you should pursue," he encouraged, his expression earnest. "You have a gift and the world needs it." Her heart swelled with hope, his words igniting a fire within her that had long been dormant. "Thank you, Alexander. It's refreshing to hear someone say that." "Just speaking the truth," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "And I believe in your potential." Their conversation flowed seamlessly, each moment laced with laughter and meaningful glances that felt electric. Time slipped away unnoticed as they explored their thoughts and aspirations, the world around them fading into the background. "What's your idea of adventure?" Emma asked, a playful smile dancing on her lips. He chuckled, the sound warm and inviting. "Adventure can be anything. A spontaneous road trip, dancing in the rain, or even sharing heartfelt conversations with captivating company." "Dancing in the rain," she teased, raising an eyebrow. "Now that's a classic." "Why not? Life is too short to take everything so seriously," he replied, the mischief returning to his eyes. "And I have a feeling you'd make a great dance partner." "Is that so?" she challenged, her heart racing at the thought. "You think you could keep up with me?" "Oh, I've got moves," he declared, playfully mimicking a dance step that made her laugh. "All right then," she said, emboldened by the playful banter. "Let's test those moves." "Right here, right now?" he asked, a teasing glimmer in his gaze. "Why not?" she replied, feeling a surge of spontaneity. "It's our adventure after all." With a laugh, Alexander stepped closer, taking her hand in his and pulling her into a playful twirl. The world seemed to fade away as they spun beneath the gentle drizzle, laughter echoing through the air. Emma felt the thrill of joy ignite within her. the weight of her worries lifting as she surrendered to the moment. As they danced, surrounded by the beauty of the rain, Emma realized that this unexpected adventure was more than just a detour. It was a chance to embrace the possibilities that lay ahead. It was a reminder that life was meant to be lived, not just endured. As they slowed, breathless from laughter, Alexander brought her close, their foreheads nearly touching. "See, nothing like dancing in the rain to lift your spirits," he said, his voice a low rumble. Emma's heart raced, the moment electric. "I can't remember the last time,"